Midfield links. Now, guys, I can't lie, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. This summer's looking like it's going to be a good summer. We're linked with a lot of midfielders who are especially coming from within the league. It's not like we're linked with midfielders from outside the league who haven't really played in the same physical presence as the Premier League. So, as United fans, I feel like we should all be happy. Now, these links are coming from, your Fabrizio Romano's, these type of journalists, and they're from they're about players like your Andersons, your Carlos Balebas, your Sandro Tonali's, and obviously it was mentioned that Tonali was like at the top of like was the first ranking in our midfield links, and then it was Anderson after that, and obviously Baleba. We know that we were linked with him heavily last season, so this season the links are still going to be there. Now I'm gonna start off with Anderson. I feel like Anderson is a good player. I feel like he's very good all round. Out of all the midfielders we're linked with, I feel like he's the best all rounder. If you get what I'm trying to say, I feel like on the ball he's good. He's neat. He can dribble out of tight spaces. He's got a degree of press resistance about him. He can dribble out of tight spaces. He can kind of shield the ball well. I feel like one thing I like about Anderson, his work rate. He's got an intense level of work rate. He's up and down the pitch. He's not gonna sit deep like your likes of Tonali, like your likes of Belabers, but he's going to be the player who's just constantly up and down the pitch and is just all over the place. And obviously we know he can play good passes, can play good diagonal passes, and he just comes across. He's quick on the ball as well. He just comes across as a very good all rounder, very aggressive as well, physical, and he just works hard. Like, that's the best thing about him. And I feel like in terms of all the options we got, he's the best in terms of all round. Now, obviously, he's linked with Man City and he's at the top of Man City's list, but I still feel like because Ineos, the players that are linked with us ever since we've had Ineos, it kind of comes across like they want to be at Manchester United. So I feel like because we're still linked with him and he's still in our list, it shows that there's still an opportunity that we can get him during the summer. My only thing with Anderson is that obviously if we're playing with Kobe Mino, I'm gonna be real with you guys. I feel like obviously because Anderson's not gonna sit back and he's kind of very positionally not all over the place, but he kind of roams up and down the pitch. Kobe's not going to really have the opportunity to drive the ball forward. He's gonna have to sit deep, and we know Kobe, that ain't Kobe's game. So if we have an Anderson, we'd need to have a midfield three at least. And if we have a midfield three, we'd need to have a midfield three who kind of keep the ball well and don't take too much risks like your Bruno's, where he might have the ball at times like previous seasons where he might have the ball and he might just make a mad long ball or he might just make a mad shot. We can't have midfielders like that, because or if we have midfielders like that, Bruno would kind of need to be a little bit more positionally stagnant and not roam out of his position as much, because obviously if we lose possession, it can be peak for us on the counter. But for the most part, Anderson, I can't lie, I'd love him at Man United. He'd probably be my first choice. He'd definitely be up there in my first choice. If he can pattern the midfield three, I'd get him. I'd get him anytime, man. What a player! And one other thing with Anderson is that I just like how he reads the game well. Now, he's not the most defensively minded midfielder, but I like the way he reads the game in terms of his press. So his press, his one-on-one press, the way he's able to grab the ball from that, the way he's able to make interceptions and just block off chances. That's what I really like about him, and I feel like obviously if you have a midfield three, he'd be very effective for us. Now moving on to Sandro Tonali, I like Tonali a lot as well because I feel like Tonali is an experienced option. Obviously, he's been in the league for the past like 2 3 years now. He's played at AC Milan, so he's a well respected midfielder. Obviously Italian, so we know how Italian midfielders are. One thing I like about Tonali, I like his work rate as well. I like how he's very tenacious. Obviously, he's a box to box midfielder, but I like how he sits deep. So obviously, in a midfield pivot with Kobe Mino, he'd be a little bit more favoured than Anderson because he can sit deep, because he can read the game well. Like he can make a lot of good interceptions. He's strong as well. He's very physical. I like the fact that you get me when the opposition players kind of running towards him, he can kind of just fizz them out of the way and get the ball. I like he can make good tackles as well, and even he's even got a good shot on him. even like Anderson as well. He's got a good shot on him. So I like Tonali a lot. I like that option a lot, and it would make a lot more sense with obviously the midfield you got right now. My only thing with Tonali, obviously, compared to an Anderson, he's not as neat on the ball, and dribbling wise, he's not the greatest. Like, obviously, he's good. I'm not gonna say he's bad, but compared to an Anderson or a Baleba or even like an Adam Wharton, he's not the best on the ball in terms of dribbling. To be fair, with Tonali, again, he's got a level of press resistance about him. And yeah, man, he's just a good option because obviously he's been in the league for a while and he's kind of seasoned. And if we can't get Anderson, then I would get Tonali. I'd get Tonali. Tonali would be my second option. I feel like he's a good option, and yeah, he'd be great for us. Now, the third player we were linked with, Carlos Baleba. I like Carlos Baleba a lot. I feel like last season, Carlos Baleba's breakout season, he was insane. He was very intense, very strong. Had a very good work rate, very press resistant as well. He could when one thing I liked about Baleba is that when he got the ball in the first phase, it's almost like he just turned and he was able to drive the ball forward. He didn't need to like rely on no passes. It's like through his physicality and his speed, he can just drive the ball forward. Similar to Anderson, he's a very good all rounder. And obviously this season he's not been the greatest, but because he's young, he's what 20, 21. You're allowed to like things like that happen. You can have an off season, and obviously he's not good. He's not going to be as high like in terms of price as he was last season, and so I feel like that's a good option, especially if we can get him at a lower price. I feel like that's a good option for us. Still very young, and yeah, man, certain things about his game you just can't ignore, like his physicality, his pace, just how he is as an all rounder. And yeah, man, I feel like he's a very good option as well. And obviously, we know he really wants to be at Man United because he was trying his hardest to come in last summer. So this summer, he'd be a very good option in my opinion. And if we can get one of the DMs I mentioned before, Anderson or Tonali and him as well, it'd be an amazing summer for us. Now, another player that we're not really linked with, but I want, and a lot of United fans would want, is Adam Wharton. I think Adam Wharton, obviously, he's not that defensive midfielder, but Adam Wharton, I think that's an amazing option for us, especially going forward. You want someone to be there to provide level of competition for with Kobe Mano in his position. So I feel like Adam Wharton will be an amazing option. Of course, we know his passing into the final third. This guy, the way he can just fizz out passes from anything is unreal. And he's been doing that all season at Palace this season, even though Palace haven't had the greatest seasons. He's just the way he can read the game defensively. I feel like a lot of the times when he's making the interceptions, he's marking players right. This is all ties down to the way he can read the game, and I feel like he can read the game well defensively. Again, his passing is insane. Even he's got a level of press resistance about him as well. The way he can dribble out of tight spaces, and just going forward, having that level of playmaking, especially in his position, would be so good for us going forward, especially for our attack, like your Cunhas, your Amads, your Mbemos, especially against your mid to low blocks. He'd be sensational for us. Effective in terms of breaking their lines, getting the ball to the final third. And his elite range of passing, man, from his weight of pass to his styles of passing, like this guy, like he can pass the ball in his sleep. He's one of the best passers in the league right now. So having him in our team will be very, very good for us going forward. But obviously, with Adam Wharton, it's kind of different because we know Crystal Palace, they've sold Guehi for not for a large price. They're probably gonna get rid of your Matetas and players like that. And if they were to get rid of Adam Wharton, we know that he's going to be like his price are gonna be mad. Like we know it's gonna be like 70 mils and above. Like it's going to be a lot. So are Ineos really going to spend that money on him, knowing that they can probably get a Baleba or like an Anderson or Tonali, or they can get two of that two of the three. It's like we, we don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. And again, with Adam Wharton, the links haven't really been as loud the past couple months. So again, that's still like a doubt. And obviously, your Man Cities, your Real Madrids, they're probably gonna keep their eyes open for a player like that. Now, me personally, out of all the four options I've talked about in this video, what I'd want again, with context, if we could play in a midfield three, then I'd want Anderson and and Adam Wharton. But obviously, if that's not really the case, then I'll probably take a Tonali and an Adam Wharton, mainly because Tonali obviously is more seasoned. We know he can sit deep, and he will complement players like Kobe, players like Adam Wharton if we get them, and yeah, just be able to make these people complement them well, make them play better. And obviously Carlos Bleber, even though I like Carlos Bleber a lot, obviously he hasn't had the greatest season this season. So if his price is still going to be high, still going to be like 45 million, 50 million pounds and above, then to me that's not really what I'd want to pay for him. So going forward, they're probably the two options out of all the options that I've mentioned today that I'd probably want. But let me know what you lot think in the comments, innit? Either way, I'm gassed, man. Like, we used to be linked with so many duds in our midfield. It's actually crazy. Yeah, so this summer we just got to make it count. Like, if we invest well, especially in our midfield, because of the decrease in quality all across the league, like next season we're able to challenge for the league, in my opinion, if as long as we invest well. But yeah, man, let me know what you guys think in the comments, what players you're excited about. Also, I'm going to put the link to my Twitter in the description. Make sure you lot leave a follow, leave a like, because over there I'm going to be putting a lot of my updates and my thoughts and stuff like that. So make sure you lot leave a follow there, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. Peace.